Well, hey, welcome to the Lyle Style Show. This is a brand new year, 2012. Brand new year, brand new set, brand new guest here. I want to thank you viewers for tuning into the show and the PATV. Today we have a treat for you because my first guest, icon type person. He's been here for a long time. He's been doing everything here in Iowa City. A lot of people know who he is. He used to be mayor here, Ross Wilburn. Welcome to the show, young man.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate that, man. And we just want to, sit back a little bit, talk a little bit about, how you got started. Where are you from originally, man?
I'm originally from Galesburg, Illinois, down by Peoria, about 2 hours away. And I have 3 years and a brother, and moved to Davenport when my father wanted to relocate to be closer to where he worked in the Quad Cities at International Harvester. He was part of the United Auto Workers Union, and they made combines there, farm combines.
Oh, okay.
So, but I went to junior high and high school there, high school at Davenport Central, class of '82.
Oh,
and then
still young, man.
I appreciate every year I get.
Yeah,
every year I get. And then came here for school at the University of Iowa, and I've been here ever since.
Now, the sports or at the university or high school, or did you?
In junior high and high school, I played baseball, I wrestled, played football through the end of 9th grade. And when I came here at Iowa, just school and did intramural sports, flag football, basketball, volleyball, those type of things.
Oh, right. Man, excellent. You're a man about town, about a little bit of everything. Now, I've been knowing you since the 90s, man.
Sure.
You have been doing a lot of things here in the community, Iowa City, and you've been doing a little bit with kids. Now, tell me a little bit about back when you was doing this nonprofit organization, United
Action for Youth,
okay.
A private nonprofit. It's a United Way affiliate agency. I started working there as a volunteer in 1988, and then as a paid staff member in 1989, and worked with teenagers and their parents, doing some prevention work, counseling, working with individuals, did some group work, some substance abuse prevention. And really, it was just a nice place, opportunity for young people of all different backgrounds to be in one place, get to know themselves, get to know some trusting adults, and to have those adults provide advice, support, to learn a skill, whether that's job-related or learning how to play music and to have the mixing boards and all of that stuff, editing decks with the video. Nice opportunity for the young people to be in a positive environment, just regardless of what was going on at home or at school for them.
Wow.
So that's how I got started.
Well, that's a beautiful. So you work for troubled kids or
all youth. Some of them had some issues with violence in their family, substance use. Adolescence is a time for everyone to find themselves.
Right.
But we felt that there was greater power in all of the young people being together and learning other. Someone who has a troubled background has something equally as powerful to share with someone who's from a wealthier background. And a lot of times, youth who are from more affluent families have issues, they just don't get discussed or talked about. They don't always appear in the newspaper.
Right.
So it was just a great environment for them to, again, to find themselves.
Right. And single family backgrounds or mom and dad's?
All of it.
Oh,
all
wow.
of it together. About it, the community is that way.
Right.
Young people don't grow up in programs, they grow up in families. And so we tried to create a friendly family environment, and there were families involved too, to really just help us all make it through that time of adolescence.
So this is what you enjoy doing this, back in the day, working with kids. And now have you seen any success stories with your kids that you work with? I know they've probably grown now.
Oh, absolutely. Just there's some of them. My background is my degree is in social work.
Okay.
I have a master's degree in social work, and for a period of 3 years, I actually was a visiting instructor at the University of Iowa School of Social Work. And some of the young people I'd worked with as teenagers ended up in social work and are out doing some really positive things in their communities now. So it doesn't get any better than that, but it does make you feel.
Oh, it does make you feel. That has to make you feel good, man. Right there, right to see the accomplishments when you brought these kids as teenagers, whatnot, and change change the life around. Because I do believe that one person can't make a difference. So I mean,
Right.
you were doing this for many years, and to see the fruit of your labor, so to speak, and what you feel that you've been in, social work of all things, they helping people, and because you gave back, now they're giving back.
Well, we had a great team at United Action for Youth, and we gave the young people opportunities for growth and development, and for them to be peer counselors as well. We started a teen telephone hotline there, Warm Line, I guess we called it, for them to learn how to be supportive of their peers. But it just makes me, that time and having taught some folks and have them go on to a variety of careers themselves, it makes me respect the work that teachers do, whether it was my teachers or teachers in the Iowa City Community School District now. And I can relate to some of the experiences they have in watching people grow and go on to college or trade school, and then getting involved in becoming productive adults.
Wow. Okay. Now, in your personal life, you have kids too, don't you?
I have two.
Yeah. And now, back in the 90s, they were real little tots. Now they're grown.
17 and 20.
Okay, 17 and 20. And is one in college or what?
One is at Rochester Institute of Technology, studying criminal justice, and then my youngest is a senior at City High School.
Okay.
And we're waiting to find out what school she's going to get accepted.
Right. Now, is she looking at any particular school or?
I'm not authorized to discuss that on
TV. How we won't talk.
No, we won't talk about.
We don't
but
that.
She'll, whatever she ends up doing. Both of them, I'm proud of what they're doing, and they work hard and they play hard, and I'm sure that wherever she gets accepted, she's going to work hard and do well and move on with life.
Yeah, right.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly. Learning and finding your own path and experiencing life. One day at a time. So. But now a little bit about you've been involved. How'd you get involved in politics? Because back in the day, back in the 90s, I didn't think were you involved in politics back then, or how did this come about? You got involved in?
Well, actually, my first, exposure to someone in elected office was when I was in high school in Davenport, at Davenport Central. Okay. And former Congressman Jim Leach, Republican.
Yes, I met him.
Would visit us at the school, and there'd be conversation, but I hadn't really thought about it at that point. When I worked at United Action for Youth, I ended up with part of several youth workers that were part of a network of youth and family service agencies called the National Network for Youth, and we would advocate for funding and passage of legislation to help youth and families. Back then specifically, it was helping get the runaway and homeless youth reauthorized and funding appropriated. So in doing that, we were working with different congressional staff, and that was where kind of the interest came about. When I was in grad school, I did do an internship one summer for Senator Harkin in his Davenport office, and I did some work with the staff member that did a lot of immigration issues, but since my background was social work and youth work, I would help people with some of the social service, whether it was Social Security or a few immigration issues.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting, man. I mean, dealing with Senator Harkin, how was he? Was he a good person to work with? Was he, people see him on TV, he's a senator, been doing this thing for decades, whatever like that.
He's a hard worker, committed to the issues in families, education, health. He's just, it was a nice role model. Him and, even seeing Congressman Leach, as I did some work advocating for funding and passage legislation out in D.C., got to meet and work with both of their staffs, and both of them did a tremendous job representing Iowa.
Now so you helped to get that started when you went to Washington, D.C. and talk with the senators out there, talk with the Congress out there for, was it runaway kids or?
Yeah, funding and services for runaway and homeless youth back then.
Now tell me, do you think we have a real, in this Iowa City is kind of a melting pot, I believe, that a very diverse place here. Is there a problem here with the homeless out here, especially with kids? Do you still see it now as you see it back then, back in the day?
Homelessness continues to exist in this community, and a lot of times it's hidden. People don't necessarily see it, whether it's adults, elderly, young people themselves. With youth in particular, sometimes what you'll see, they're not necessarily on the streets, although some do, but they'll be in situations where they're staying with, there'll be several families staying in the same location, or they'll be bouncing from relative to relative, or there may be situations where they may be staying with university students in some of their apartments or dorms, and in some of those situations, you know, some of them are, they've been friends when they were in high school, but others, there may be some college age or other adults taking advantage of a young person, young male or female. Right. Those are things you don't want to see.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, okay, there's a problem here to a certain extent, you know, but, so, I mean, what do you think is one of the solutions that we can, because you know what, it's a time to talk, and it's time for actions, so to speak, you know, and so, you know, politicians talk about this all the time, different subjects, different things, whatever, and some of them do something about it, but what do you think is one of the solutions that we can really help with these young kids? Is it their parents? Do they, I mean, you know, needs to step up to the plate and be there for their kids, or what can we do to, what I'm looking for, to try to stop this from getting worse than it really is?
I mean, everyone has a role to play. If you believe that, or that it takes a village, you know, that philosophy that we all have a role in educating and helping the next generation move forward. We, you know, just from a systemic perspective, we have a very strong human services network here in the community. United Action for Youth is one that's working with some of the youth. There are other youth programs that are great, phenomenal programs. You know, people can get involved and provide, volunteer or provide funding for them. In terms of homelessness with adults, the shelter that we have here, Shelter House in town. In fact, Chrissy Canganelli, the director, was just recognized as the Person of the Year by the Press Citizen, which for her work in trying to raise awareness and gather funding for the new shelter facility, where they do have programs to assist people to manage the situations, their homelessness situations, and to move on to more stable housing. But you know, and I mentioned different roles. You know, that was a role that advocate and director. You know, the city government has a role. They provided funding, some funding to help get Shelter House going with that. But dedicated, you know, churches, synagogues, and mosques contributing funding and getting their members to help grow. You know, donations, contributions, but you know, and for several years while that facility was being constructed, you know, the faith community dealt and managed the overflow at the older
shelter. So church did get involved.
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much so. They volunteers came in on evenings in the cold winter months, like now, and staffed their church, synagogue, mosque facilities in the evening, and then assisted with the homeless. So that's just a nice example where, you know, it can be overwhelming for an individual to think, how can I get my arms or help to get something? But if everybody does a little bit, and if everybody works with the systems that are put in place, then we can move the needle towards, you know, more successful interactions, more successful situations, and then it gets back to jobs and treatment for folks that have some type of mental. So it's too big for any one person, but each and every one of us can play a role in helping address those situations.
That's a good point. Everybody can play a role in doing something, and being a positive, first of all, being a positive role model, being a positive person. And, you know, because I really truly believe that if one person was to pay it forward to someone else, to help someone, and that other person that had helped does the same thing, that snowball effect, whatever, is it starts small and it gets real big at the end. So you're right, one person can make a difference, and like you said, a community or a village to help. Because back in the day when I was growing up, back in Chicago, I mean, you know what, when I was a kid, you know, if I get in trouble, you know, my next door neighbors would see that, and I get a whooping from a next door neighbor, then my mom, and then the person over from my mom. So I kind of realized, okay, Lyle, you can't be, I don't. One whooping is bad enough. 3, not good for me. So, so yeah, right. It does help, but
you're right that with that pay it forward perspective, and that helps an individual really focus on what can I do rather than attacking. Everyone's not agree on how to approach it, but find something that you can support, that you will do, and that you can get behind to get involved and pay it forward for someone else.
And is that how you started off in getting involved with youth? Is it something like a passion for you to help young people in a direction? Because like I said, you've been here in Iowa City. Everybody knows you. When I say your name, they know exactly who I'm talking about, man. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, boy, this.
That may not be a good thing.
well, so far it is. So far,
Okay, right.
nothing negative, But and that's why I appreciate you coming down on the show and talking with me and whatnot, and addressing a little bit about your life and how you started. And another thing about your, the politician and whatnot, being on the city. Now, how did you get on the city council?
My experience working at the youth center and advocating in D.C. Just sparked an interest in how could I get involved in that effort, and that felt too big, but I thought, what can I do?
Right.
And it started right here in my community. At the time, in 1995, was the first time I ran for elected office, and it was me and a handful of friends and colleagues around the kitchen table. And tried to run. 8 people running for 2 city council spots. 2? And one of them was an incumbent.
Ooh.
So really it was 7 people trying for 1 spot.
Wow.
And they had a primary to narrow it down to 4.
Right.
And I was number 5.
Oh.
But there was some good press, and people felt that I had some positive things to say. And the city council at the time appointed me to the Parks and Recreation Commission. So I'd served 4 years on the Parks and Recreation Commission.
So what is that in detail? Park and Recreation?
Well, each city has a board or commission of citizen volunteers that help provide guidelines and policy and programming. And so with Parks and Recreation, we worked with the Parks and Rec director. We had monthly meetings to help set policy and guidelines. That all eventually had to be approved by the city council, but it was the work that was done behind the scene before it got to the city council. So we helped grow the park system. When I was on, we helped do fundraising to add the Scanlon Gymnasium onto the aquatic center.
Okay, yeah, that's a state of art.
Yeah, and with some of the green space in the parks, the multi-purpose trails, those type of things. So that was, and also the cemeteries. There was some growth in the cemetery, and added a when people have their remains cremated, to have a columbarium for those remains. Those are some things people don't necessarily think of cemetery when they talk about Parks and Recreation, but there was some growth of in that area that we can do. But anyway, while I was on Parks and Recs, after 2 years, there was another opportunity to run for council. I gave it a try. Someone had been someone else's campaign manager who won, and approached me at a Parks and Rec Commission meeting and said, I thought you had some great things to say. I'd love to be your campaign chair. And so did that. We met, it was the same circumstances. 8 people running for 2 spots, one incumbent.
Okay, here you go.
Again,
same.
but this time I was number 4.
Okay.
No, 3, I believe.
Okay.
And so I didn't win in the end, but I ran a 3rd time, and 3rd time was a charm.
3rd time's a charm.
1999.
Wow.
And then served 12 years on city council. It just ended on January 1st here.
Yeah, wow, 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah, plus the 4 on Parks and Rec.
Right,
so that was all city
related
stuff, yeah.
Right, okay, and then now how'd you get picked to be mayor? Because that's a accomplishment, because you know what, as far as I'm concerned, I think you was the first African-American male to be, or female, to be
I was.
Iowa City.
Yeah, that's correct. I wasn't the first African-American to serve on city council. There was a gentleman named George Strait, I believe he was a librarian at the law school.
Okay.
College of Law at the University of Iowa. And in the mid to late 80s, he was on the city council. So I'm the second African-American to serve on city council, but the first and only so far to serve as mayor.
Right, mayor of a diverse type of town. I mean, it's amazing, man. Because I read about it in the newspaper. Yeah. That's how I found it.
In Iowa City, the council is a little different. The people elect the council, and the council selects one to serve as the mayor for 2 years, and our council terms are 4 years.
Okay.
But you know, growing up, I didn't think one day I'll be mayor of Iowa City.
Right.
But I was on the council at the time, and at the back, on the back wall behind where the public sits, there's pictures of all the former mayors, and there's a handful of women, but all are white and no people of color. And so, you know, in a town like this, anything is possible, and for most people, that wouldn't be a barrier and wouldn't matter, but no one had. No one had been served as mayor.
Right.
And so I thought, since I was in a position to be the first, that I had a responsibility to let it be known that I would be interested in serving. And the council, I had good working relationship with them as a council member, and they selected me to be mayor. Oh,
that was amazing, man, amazing. And okay, now, mayor, see, when people say mayor, you feel like all power, but it's really, the council is really what calls the shots, isn't it? Or did you get any type of say?
In Iowa City, the mayor is a council member and votes. Not in on every city. In some cities, well, Coralville, the mayor does not vote on typical matters. If there's I have to look at my Coralville lore, but if there's a tie, I believe he
has decided to vote.
I believe that's the case. I'd have to look it up. I had tough enough time following what we did in Iowa City.
I know, it's a whole, obviously a whole different world.
But was a council member. But, you know, the mayor does help set the agenda and helps manage the meeting, and there are other responsibilities that the mayor did serve. Well, in times of natural disaster, too. There's some times when the mayor has
to... the floods in '93, floods in 2008.
There's actually my third or fourth as mayor. There was a tornado in town.
So
I had an opportunity then. And I wasn't mayor during the latter flood, but Mayor Bailey was mayor at the time. She did a great job, and council worked around her. But, you know,
the tornado, that was a big
It was
disaster.
a big deal, and we had a great response by the public, neighbors helping neighbors. And we had a great experienced staff that had, you know, some experience with straight line winds and recovery here, but also people who'd been in other communities when they had natural disasters, consulting and working and helping them. So we had a great group of people to help us manage our way through the tornado, and then subsequently the last two floods, manage our way through those.
Oh, wow, okay, that's wonderful, man.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and you work with the fire department, with the police department, whatever.
All the departments, and putting together the packages to the FEMA recovery, and which allocating, dedicating city resources, public tax dollar to future prevention of floods or some projects that are coming up.
Wow.
But you know, you mentioned as being the first African American mayor of Iowa City, it was a great honor. I knew at the time, for many people, again, that wouldn't be an issue or concern, even though it had never happened.
Really? You didn't think it was?
Well, for some others, they would think, well, you know.
They knew you as a person, huh?
Yeah. That it wouldn't be a problem. And so I knew it would be meaningful for some and not for others. But right after I was selected as mayor, I went outside. There was a woman older than me, African American, and wheelchair bound. And she was coming across the street, and she waved at me, and I walked over, and she said, you know, I just heard on the radio you were picked as mayor. I'm so proud of you. I didn't think it would ever happen, and tears rolling down her eyes.
Oh, man.
And at that moment,
it had to touch you right there.
It really did. It really did.
Yeah.
And then since then, you know, while I was serving as mayor, and even after, some people in the schools would pay attention to ask me questions, and some of them, minority and majority youth, would get involved in different things at their school or their neighborhood, or at United Action for Youth or neighborhood centers. And so it was really good to see that. And the government teachers at the school doing a great job engaging the kids in national, state, and local stuff. So so it was meaningful for some. And I think that's beautiful.
I mean, you have your icon here. I can say number of positive things about you, man, being the mayor, city council, whatnot. I mean, like I said, I appreciate you being on the show, talking to me, talking to the viewers about your life and about where you came from. I wish you 1,000 more times of success in your life.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it. Very good.
Very good.
Amen.
Right, yeah.
Amen. You know, and I want to address the viewers here Thank y'all for watching the show. I wanted to say one thing. You have to take one step at a time. You know, one person can make a difference, as we've seen with this young man right here. And anybody can do their part. Pass it forward. A smile can help somebody. Anything can help somebody. One person at a time can make a difference. And we all do our part, this place. No more poverty, no more this and that. So my thing is, what I'm going to do for 2012 is pass it forward. And if we can do that, you out there, this world will be a better place. So I like to thank this wonderful man right here, Icon. That's what I call him, because he's been around in Iowa City for years and doing great things and positive role model for people, for young people, even for us adults. So I just can't, this is my first show. I hope that y'all enjoyed this show. You keep on watching PATV because it's a great place for people to come in the community and do their thing and be positive. But as always, I want to keep on saying to y'all, keep styling and profiling. Until next time, keep being positive. See you. Peace out. So I guess we all.